So the title is how you can draw the 2D and the 3D plots are there. A very common statement about the 2D and the 3D there. Whenever you are working on the, oh sorry, I forget to ask you whether my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it is here.
Oh, thank you. So whenever you are working on the 2D or the 3D are there, what you can do is you have to just remember the one command, that is a plot. This is used to draw the plot. That's enough. And to draw the plot. Now, whenever you are talking about the 3D plot, so this 3, you have to just replace this by 3. Whenever you are writing here as a 3, it means this is my 3D graph. That's the simple difference between here whenever you are working on the MATLAB. And what is your target when you draw the 2D graph? So your graph will be look like here. Say this is my x-axis, this is my y-axis, and say your graph will be like here. So once you are drawing this graph, then your objective is how you can draw this graph. So the syntax will be, you have to write the two values here. The first value is corresponding to the x, corresponding to these values are there. And the second one is corresponding to the y values are there. So this is corresponding to the y. Make sure that whenever you want to draw this graph, the length of this x and y must be same. The length must be same. So how you can check that whether the length is same or not? How you can check that? So as I discussed in my first lecture, you can simply use the command length of x. It will give you a certain answer. You can check that length of y. Okay. And as I seen in your voucher that you have already covered the loop statements are there. That's a conditional statement. So you can check whether the length of x is same as that of the length of y. Then only you can draw the graph or you can draw the plots. Otherwise, what will happen? Else there is an error in it. So we will see all these in this today's session. Second thing, what you want actually, once you will draw the plot, then your target is to write this x-axis label, whether it's represent the time, whether it's represent the distance, velocity, whatever is there. Similarly, you want to be write as a y label. So another thing is how you can write this x label and y label. Another thing which is usually the student wants that how you can do the multiple graphs are there. Say this is the first line, say second line is my here. This is my second graph. This is my say third graph and so on. So how you draw this multiple graph, how you draw this multiple graph in a single plot, in a single plot. So these are the basic, and same thing we can do for the plot 3. What another thing you might be interested whenever you are plotting the graph is you have to put the legends like this is my graph 1. A red line represent for my graph 1. This dotted lines is represent for my graph 2. And this black line is called as my graph 3. So I hope everybody knows that what is the meaning of this. We call this as legend. So that's the basic objective of this 2D plot survey. So how we can do that? That's a very simple. So let me firstly explore on this MATLAB window. So let's say here, this is our output window. So let's say I can define the, I can firstly say, I want to plot a graph, say firstly y is equal to x cube. And whenever x lies between 0 to say 10, how you can draw the graph of this? That's very simple. You can clearly see is firstly you have to input them, and finally you will get the output. So what is the input of them? Out of y and x, which one is the input? X is my input, y is my output. So firstly you have to define here as x. What are the values of the axis? 0 to 10. So either you can write as a 0, 1, 2, 3, up to last number is 10. That's only my discrete value. But it is clearly sees that 0.5 is also be there. 0.53 is also satisfied here. So how you can define all these infinite values? So another way is you can define as the first value and the last value. What is that? This is my increment. So what size you want to increment? Let's say I can take as a 0.1. So what is the meaning of that? What are the values of the x? X is my 0, 0.1, 0.2 up to the 9.9 and 10. So these values are there. So let's see, I can write in this on the MATLAB. Say x is my 0, 0 and here. Since I put as a semicolon, so there is no output display here. Can you tell me what is the length of this x? You can simply count as a length of x is 101. It means, what is the meaning of that? These values, how many values are there? 101. Now your target is to construct the values of it means you have this x value 0.1, 0.2 up to the 10. These all are my 101. How you find the value of the y square? This is my 0, this is y is nothing but x square. This is my here, this is my this. How you find that? So if I write here as simply say y is equal to x square, do you think that what is the values of this? It show an error. You can see that it's an error. Why? As I discussed in my last lecture, what is the meaning of the x square? What is the x? X is a matrix. What is the size of this matrix is 1 cross 1. And when you say x square, that means x into x. So you can see that the column of this is 101, row is 1. It can't be multiplied. But your target is to compute the value of the x square element wise. So what you can do is you have to compute element wise. So you have to put as a dot. This is the meaning of the x square. So you can see if I write here as y is x square. Now you can check what is the length of this x, y. You can see again it's a 101. Now both the lengths are same. Now you can plot the values of you can plot the graph. So let's say I can plot, this is a x, this is a y. So remember, whatever you have written in the first side, that will define for the x-axis. Whatever you have defined after the comma, that will goes to the y-axis. Means you draw this graph, whatever the values of the x, it will goes here. And whatever the values of y, it will goes here. Or if you write like this way, plot y comma x, then this value of the y is represent my x. So it can be plotted over here and this can be plotted over here. So like if you like this, if I press the enter, you can see the graph is look like here. You can see this is the graph of y is x here. But if I write here as a plot y comma x, what is the meaning of that? Now you can see the value of the y. You can see here. These are the values of the y 0 to 100, and these are the values of the x from 0 to 10. So actually these are my x, this is my y, the graph is look. Now my question is, after that what you want to do is, you want to write something at here. You want to write something at here. You want to write here as this is my title. How you can write these three things into the MATLAB? So that is very simple. Whatever you want to write over the x-axis, you can use the command as x label. whatever you want to use in the y-axis, you can use as a y label. Whatever you want to use in the title frame, you can simply use as a title of whatever you want to write in the script. So for example, if I write here as X label, say values of the X, remember that you always write in the form of the string. This single comma represent for the string. So when I write X label, that's the value of the X. You can see here. You can see the value of the X appears on the X axis. Similarly, you can write here as label, Y label, values of the Y. Now you can see the values of the Y appears. How you can write the title of the this? So I can say, sorry, it's a small title. So you can see the graph of Y is X square. Always represent in the comma are there. That's a string. So you can see the graph of Y is X square. If now you can see there is no space between the Y and X square. What you can do is you can simply write in terms of the dollar. Because if you remember, if you are using the LaTeX, then you are always writing the mathematical equation in the dollars are there. So if you write here, now you can see it's appear in the dollar form. How you can write if somebody wants to write here as instead of the X, say alpha. How you write the mathematical symbol into the script. So for that, that's again a very simple. What you can do is you can simply use again as say values of alpha. You can simply write here as a alpha. You can see this is there. You can see this is the value of alpha symbol appears. Similarly, how you write as a beta, you can simply replace this as a beta like of this. Say beta. Then your result will be here. You can see the output is my represent here as beta, while in the previous one it is represent as alpha. Similarly, if you want to write as a gamma, delta, whatever is there, you can write as say gamma. You can write here as a delta, and so on, whatever the symbol you want to write. Another thing, how you want, this is a grid line. All of you know that these lines are called as the grid line. Now, if you want to join them, you want to join this in like here. You can join the corresponding numbers, similarly corresponding to the y-axis. How you can draw that? So that's again very simple. What you can do is whatever you want to draw, you can simply write here as grid on. Once you write grid on, then these vertical lines will appear. So you can see if I run this command, now you can see here these vertical lines appears. So this is the way you can write on the grids are. Now what I can do is I can simply open this window again for you. I can write for here as simply format short, clear all, and CLC. So let's see if somebody wants, I can write firstly here as same -5 2.1 to the plus of 10. Say y is my x square, and then I can write here as x comma y. I can write here as x label, values of the x, values of y, and title is my graph of y is this. MATLAB, save this file say on my desktop. Say CU MATLAB, say CU log. Okay, so once you can see here, Once I will run this one, as I already explained that what is the current folder and check. So you can see the graph are appear here. Now you can see I have changed the values of the x. Now you can see I changed the value of the x from -5 to the plus of 10. Now you can see it's a -5 to plus of 10, and the corresponding value of the x square is my here. But how similarly, if you want to write on the grid, so you can write here as a grid also, grid on. Again, I want to run this file. You can see the grid lines are here. Another thing is how you can draw the multiple plots. How you can draw the multiple plot. Multiple plots means if you want to, this is my blue color. So say I want to write like here. So what you can do is you can define the another symbol. Say plot is here. I can define say another y1, which is nothing but my sine of x. And I can define the another one, say e raised to power x, say 3. So I want to draw the graph of 3 more objects. What you can do is, this is for the first graph. This is the x and the y. Similarly, you can write for the second one. You can put as a comma and then space x-axis, graph of the y1. The meaning of the x and y1. It means there are the two graphs, one corresponding to the x comma y, that is for this pair, and then second one is x comma y1. So if I just run this file from here, now you can see there is an error. You can see here why there is an error, because e raised to power x is not be there. What is the e? That is nothing but my exponential. So exponential can be written as exp. This is for the exponential part. Now once I run this file, you can see now here you can see there are the two graphs are there. One is for the red line, second is for the blue color. So now how you can distinguish that which one is here? Now you can see this is my one is for the blue color, which one is for the y is equal to x square, and this is for the y1, that is the sine x. It is not clearly seen that which one is for the x and which one is for the sine x. So for that you have to blue color, one is for the red color. So how you can do that? You have to write the command here as, so this is legend. You can write in the bracket, always write in the here. So the first value, this is the graph of x square. So you can simply write here as y is x square, comma. The second one is y is equal to sine x. Now what will happen if you run this line again? Now you can see here. Now you can see here, this is the value of the y is equal to, this means blue color is for my y is x square, red color is for my y is equal to sine x. This is the one way you can write it. Another way how you can write this value is, I can simply close this file, I can comment on this. This is one method you can write on the MATLAB here. Otherwise, you can simply run this file. Look at that, there is no legends are there. Have you seen this button? Let me show here. Another way is you can simply click on this button. If you've seen on your MATLAB window, you can simply click on this button, automatically a legend will appear. See here. I can click on this. You can see here. It is not representing here. This is my y sine x. It is not given as y is equal to x square. So you have to write this value as manually. How you can write this value manually? So you can double click on this box. I can double click on this box. Now you can select whatever you want. So I can delete this, and now I can write here as y is equal to sine x. Whatever it goes outside the box, there is no problem. Once you will click outside the box, it will automatically adjust that. Similarly, you can write for here y is x square. Y is equal to x square and y is equal to sine of x. Similarly, if you want to draw the graph of the y as 2, so it means now there are the three graphs. One is x. Now let's see this here because the value of the exp exponential plus 3 is very large as compared to the other two. That's why it will go here. So if you look about the legend, it will give you the three graphs. See all the values. You can click on this. This is called as the zoom button. You can click on this. Like here, I can do that. Now you may see about all these three graphs are there. You can clearly see that this is the third graph, that is for the yellow color, this is for the blue color, and below one is for the red color. Now this is the first method. You can write all in the single line. You can plot all in the single line for the multiple plots. This is the first method. You can draw the multiple plots in a single graph. There is one more method. What is that method is? Let me say I can save this as figure 1. Okay. Now I can remove this. Now I can draw this figure 2. Okay. So how you can draw this figure 2? Let's say what I want to tell you. Firstly, I will go through the something are there. This is combined at a single. Now I can use the command of hold on. What is the meaning of the hold on? This command is used for plotting the graph, for plotting the multiple graphs, for plotting the multiple graphs in a single one. Like as we did in here, we have plotted the multiple graphs in a single line. So again, the hold on command is same. Which again plot on the multiple in the single line. What we can do is I have to write here as say first graph plot x comma y. I can write as y1. Again, I can write it as hold on. Then I can write as for the third graph x comma y2. After that, there is no more graphs, so I can write it as hold off. Then all the graphs will be displayed in a single here. So look at that how. So I can write it as plot x comma y. Now you can see this is my figure number 2. So you can see I can run this graph. Now you can see there are the two figures. You can see the labels are there. This is my figure 1. This is my figure 2. Figure 1 consists of all these values. Figure 2 consists of only one graph are there. Now I can put here as hold on. It means I can hold the figure 2 only. So I can plot the other values x comma y1 also. So if I run this command, now you can see, look at that. The figure 2 again now consists of the second graph, while in the previous one, figure 2 consists of only the one graph, while now in the figure 2 is here. Similarly, if you want to draw the third graph also, say hold on. Say I want to draw this another graph is say cos of x. Then I can write here as hold on plot y3. Now I don't want to plot more graphs in a single, so I can write as hold off. Now if you run this file, Now you can see this is for the, I can put as a legend also, so that you may remember that. The first one is my y is equal to x square. Second one is my y is equal to sin x, comma. Third one is my y is equal to cos x. Now if you run this file, now you can see here. This is one. Otherwise, you can delete this one and you can use this legend table. You can put here as this. Any query so far? Okay. Next one is how you want to, if you want to change the color. Okay. Before that, what is the purpose of this figure 1 and the figure 2? You may observe I have written as a figure 1 and the figure 2. That's why there are two. It means we didn't put up any of the single command of the figure 1 and figure 2. It represents that firstly this graph will plot, and whenever this graph will plot, it will override the previous one. Like here, you can see. Now you can see there is only one graph is plotting. You can see there is no more graph are here. There is only one graph plotting, which is corresponding to y is equal to cos x, sin x, and x square. It means they plot this one because you don't mention the figure numbers, it will override the graphs are there. Like here, if you put up another graph, say plot of x comma y2 only, then because we already completed the hold off, so now this is my figure 3. So once you will run this one, they will override the, this is the graph of the x and y2. Now the question arises is how you can change the color of these lines are there. You are here. The next task is how you can change the colors of the graph are there, because you can see that this by default the red color and the orange color, they are almost similar are there, so it is very difficult to distinguish between them. So how you can do that? You can put the line here. This is, say, okay, I will tell you firstly through this graph. I can put the comment at here. Now what you can do is, this is my first graph. So if you want to put this color, the graph of the x and y, that is graph of x and the y is equal to x square as a red color, you can put here as in the comma r. R is represent for my red color. If you want to put second one as a blue, you can write here as a B for the blue. If you want to put third one as a magenta color, so you can put as a M. So you can see if I run this file, your output will be, there is an error appears. Unexpected is the error in line number 10. So you can see I forget here is a comma. You can see there is an error occurs. You can clearly see is I forget to put up as a comma here, because here the B and X both are the same thing. So I put as a comma. Now I can run this file. You can see the output are here. You can see again, I can simplify this value as say x plus 3 so that it will be clearly visible. Now you can see there are the different colors are. Now it can be clearly visible. One is the red, magenta, and the blue color are. You can change them again to be any of the color. Say I can want to be them as say green. You can put as a legend also. The third one is my y is x plus 3. Now if you run this file, you can see here. Now you can see, you can drag, pick and drop and at any place you want. So you can see now it's clearly visible about that. Second, another thing which is important sometime whenever you write your dissertations or your research papers or any of the projects are there, say you want this this red color lines to be like of this way, like of here, that is a dotted colors in the dotted way. And this green color I want to be as of this circles are there on this line. What you can do is you have to replace this R with here. I can write as a two lines are there, two hyphens. What is the meaning of that? You can see the output in the window. Now you can see I put only for the red color as this R. It means red color circles. What you can do is you have to write here as O. Or if you want to put here as a star, now you can see the outputs are here. You can see why it happens, because there are so many points are there. I can reduce the points, say to be 0.8. Now you will see the outputs are here. Now you can see them. Now you can see the outputs are like here. But if you still wants to be used like of it can be connected like fully connected in this way, then what you can do is you again need a line. So you can put here as line also. Now you can see the output. You can see here. Similarly, if you want to put connected lines through the dotted circles, you can put here as double hyphens. It means it will give you the like of here. You can see this blue colors are dotted by hyphens are there. This green color are complete one, and you can see automatically the legends are changed. You can see the circle, red, and so on. It will automatically changes are there. So this is the way you can change your colors and so on. Another way, if you want to look at the one more important property, if someone interested about that. So say I use the word as a G text. What is the meaning of the G text? As the name text is a text. If you want to write something like here, I want to write y is equal to x square for the first graph. I want to write G text, say y is equal to sine of x for the second graph. What you can do is after this, you can run this file. This is the file you can run. Now you can see this. Have you seen about these two vertical and horizontal lines appear? That will give you the direction. What you can do is the first G text I have written y is equal to x square. Which of the line is y is equal to x square? This red color line. So you can put this here anywhere near about the red color line and click left click. You can see y is equal to x square appears. The second, you can see the second G text appear as y is equal to sine x. So you can put this black color and here the second line, that is second for my dotted blue. So you can put anywhere and put as a enter like of this. Then it will appear as, say I want to put here. You can see sine of x appear here. And since there is no more vertical lines appear because I don't write as a G text 3 times. So if you don't want to write as a legend here, you can use as a G text option. That is also the important property when you write your graphically more interactive manner. Another thing, I hope it is, so far it is clear. Another thing is there, if you want to change the height, change the dimension of the y-axis. If you want to change the dimension of the x-axis, how you can change them? Like my y-axis is my from minus of 10 to 90. I want to change them to be the minus of 30 to say 50. How can change the axis, y-axis? That's very simple. How you can change them? You can put the command as y limit and then write the values as minus 30 space 50, like of here. Y limit, y limit, put them as in the brackets are there. So it's a minus of 30, 50. And then you can press the run button. Now you can see the output as this is y equal to x square. Now you can see it's from minus 30 to plus 50 because I changed the y limit as minus 30 to plus 50. Similarly, you can change the x limit also. How you can do that? Instead of this y limit, you can change them as x limit, whatever the lower limit you want, comma, upper limit you want. Like of this, if I write here as x limit, say minus 35, comma 75, for example. Okay. Then you can run this command. Since I use the two G text are there, so I can put it here. Now you can see the y-axis. What is that? Y-axis from minus 30 to plus 50. X limit is my minus 35. This is my 30. This is my 35 to this 75. And if you want to put as a grid, you can write here as a grid on. Then it will give you a grid lines are. So this is the way you can write. You can write this one into a single line, sir. Any query so far up to the 2D plots? Okay. You can use them various symbols like of, if you want to use them as say plot x comma y comma. If you want to write here as a R, then it will graph will be plotting as a red color. If you put them as a Y, then the graph line will be a yellow color. If you put them as a C, then it will be a tan color. If you put them as a W, then it will be the white color, and so on. If you put them as a K, then it will be black color. But if you put them as a blue color, then it will be the B. On the other hand, if you put them as say like of dot R, what is the meaning of that? The graph will be plotting like of this way. R means that is a red color for the dotted device. If you put them like of say plus R, what is the meaning of that? The graph will be plotting like of this here. But if you put them like of plus and hyphen of red, what is the meaning of that? Graph will be plotted like of plus as well as line both, plus line both, plus line both are there. So you can, we have seen that you can simplify that. If you want to put them like of semicolon, say blue, what is the meaning? Look at that. If I write for here, where is my graph is? Now, instead of this R, if I put them as a dot, so I can remove this one. So what I can do is, I use as a semicolon. So you can see the output of the red. So output will be appear as in the form of here. You can see, have you seen about the red color? You can see here. The graph is not in the straight line, so not in the solid line, but they are in the form of the dots are. So that's depending upon you, whatever you want to do in your style. These are called as the styles of your graph. Okay. Another thing is subplots. So I can take a 1 minute break so that you can ask me a question if you want, because now onward, whatever I will tell you, that is based on these previous ones are there. So now I will try to explain you subplot, and then I will follow you how you can plot the 3D plots. So the syntax and the command, whatever I have explained in this plot command, we will use the same as such here. So let me give me a 1 minute. In the meanwhile, you can ask me a certain question if you have.
Hello, if you have any questions, please write in the chat box. Otherwise, sir will continue. Sir has given you 1 minute. There are no questions now. I guess you can continue. I'll let you know if anyone will ask a question in the chat.
Okay, fine. Very surprising that nobody asked a single question. There are so many questions are arising so far. Why somebody may ask that, sir, how you can change the size of this? It is not clearly visible. How you can increase the font size? How you can increase the font size of this? It is not clearly visible. How you can change the font size of this? Again, it is not clearly visible. But nobody asked a single question. So very surprising.
It may be because they are not aware of these concepts. That is why they'll practice, then they'll know the problems also.
Okay, fine. So now we will see the subplot command. What is the meaning of the subplot? Is you have the one figure like of this. You have this one figure. Now what I can do is I can break this figure into, say, 4 parts are there, or I can break these figures into the 6 portion. So what I can do, in this first figure, I want to draw the graph of, say, this one. In the second figure, I want to draw the graph of this. Third figure, I can draw the like of this. Fourth one, I can draw the graph of like here. Fifth one is this. Sixth one is this. How you can write all these 6 different graphs into a single graph? That's why the command is called as subplot. Where is my slide? Is here. So the purpose of this is I can break this a single screen. If you want to write as a this is a 4 graph. If you want to write as a 6 graph, and so on. So what you can do is you have to use the command as subplot. And definitely once you are using the subplot, the dimensions of this x-axis here, y-axis here, and they are definitely the change are there. So firstly, you have to identify that how many subplots you want to be used. For example, in this case, again, continue to my last lecture, it is a MATLAB, that is matrix laboratory. So you have to think of this in terms of the matrix again. So if you think about this matrix, what is the size of this matrix? 2 cross 3. It means you have to use the subplot command to be the 2, 3. That's the meaning of that 2, 3. Look at that. If I write here as a subplot, I can close this figure. Look at that. If I write for here as a subplot 2, 3, that means here you can see. So this is the first graph. Similarly, I can you may observe I can write for you. This is my second. This is my third. This is 4, 5, and 6 are there. If you look about this again, if you look about that, if it is a 2 cross 2, can you write this value in terms of the matrix? What is that? This is the first column, first row, first column of the matrix. This is the second column, or the second column, first row of the matrix, and so on. So I can write this value in terms of the matrix as subplot 2, 3 and the first value. So you can see I have written for you as 2, 3 is the dimension of the matrix. The first element, once you put the enter, the graph will appear as of first row. If I put here, you can see if I put as a 5. So do you imagine that which one is the graph will appears? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th graph. So once I will press the enter, it appears at this position. So you can see. Now you can see the output. You can see here is a 5 position. If you want to plot them as a 6, it will give you at the 6th position. Now, how you can plot the graph in between them? That's a very simple again. So let me firstly define the one problem. Say you have the two certain x and the certain y's are there, and I want to say firstly I can start from the 2 cross 2 subplots are there. So I want to use the subplot 2 cross 2, and what is my syntax is I can use the command of say v and say I. So here I can say it's a 4x. This is say my y by 4. Because once you input the value of the x and y, you can write here. In the second graph, I want to use them as say p is nothing but my sine of x and q is nothing but my cos of x. Here is my say h is, for example, say x divided by 60 and g is say my y divided by 20. And the last graph is say x, y, z, p, q. C is my say x square and say d is my say y square. How you want to draw this one? So firstly, you have to input the value of the x and then input the value of the y in the MATLAB. So let's see how you can do that. So I can write all this value here. So I can firstly put all these values as a comment, otherwise it will overwrite all these values. So I can write the say x value as 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can write x value as 5. Y is my say 2, 3, 2, 7, and here. Now look at that. What is my target is? Our target is to firstly write v as 4x, I as a y by 4. So I can define here as v is 4x. Can it be correct? 4 is multiply with the 1 by 1. So this is also fine. You can write as a dot. And I is nothing but the y divided by 4. Again, remember that it's an element wise because 4 is divided each of them. So now I can plot this one like subplot. It's a 2 cross 2 matrix over the first plot out there. So once I will run this value, you can see the graph. I can close this value. So now you can see subplot 2 cross 2 of 1. So now you can see here. But it is not be given here. What is that? This is x-axis, this is the y-axis. Now I can use as a plot v on the x-axis, I on the y-axis. Now you can see the output window is appears like of it. It is clearly see this is the graph of this. Now you can put here as you want. You can put here as a x label if you want. You can put here as a y label if you want. You can put as a title if as you want. Like if I show you again, you can put as a x label, say the v, and y label as say I, and I can put as a title of say v versus I. So if you run this file, I can run the file and you can see this is the v, this is the I, and this is the v versus I. Now what is the second part is I want to draw the graph of p is equal to sine x, q is equal to cos x. So I can take x and y already be there. So you can write here as you can write either here, you can write either at here or even at the end of this. So p is nothing but my sine x and q is nothing but my cos of y. Now I can put them as a subplot 2, 2 second position. Now you can see at the initial this is 2 cross 2 is not be defined, but now once I will run this file, you can see that 2 cross 2 is well defined. Now you can plot the command as p comma q. Now you will see this is the graph of the sine p on the x-axis, q on the y-axis. Again, you can put as a label title if you want. Similarly, you can write for the others also as I discussed here. You can define h, g, c, d, and so on. So let me see quickly. C is nothing but my x square and d is nothing but my y square. I can use them as a subplot 2, 2 of 4. I can write as a plot of c, d. So if I run this file, you can see the graph of this one here. Similarly, you can write it yourself as a 2 cross 3. You can change the labels, title, legend if you want at any time or at any hour out there. Now, how you can draw the bar graph? How you can draw the bar graph in this say in the MATLAB? How you can firstly let me show you about the polar function. say, let's say bar graph. How you can draw the bar graphs are there. Let's say how you can draw the bar graph. All of you know that what is the bar graph is? You can write like of this. So what is the meaning of the bar graph? You have to x, certain values of the x, certain value of the y corresponding to this, you can draw the graph are there. So let me show you how you can do the bar graph. So
Sir, before you start bar graph, I would like to ask one question. So, what are the basic? Why are you using subplot? Here it is necessary. What kind of a data we should apply subplot? Can you decide on that?
I can't hear the properly. A lot of disturbance from the back side. Yes, can you please repeat the question?
Sir, I'm asking where we can use subplot in real life problems, जहाँ पे it can be used majorly.
Okay, okay. Where we can use the subplot commands are there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So suppose like of this. So say you are doing some research work or some teaching institute teaching are there where you have the common information like of say voltage and say current. Okay, then you want to analyze the influence of the voltage on the current. So once is you can use the Ohm's law. So you can show the students like V is equal to IR, that is voltage is directly proportional to the I. Then you have to draw the one graph corresponding to this. Second is if you want to find the relationship between the Q is equal to C by R, that's a capacitor are there. Then you have to find the resistance from the here. You can find the input from the capacitor from this, and then you can find the relation between di by dt of this. Then you can see the importance of this same value of the x. What is the meaning of here? What is the importance of this is I have used the same value of the x, same value of the y for here. I check the influence of the x and y on the different functions. What are my different functions are there? The influence of the x and y on the v, when v is varies like of the 4x, I is varies as the, that is the linear functions are there. We will check the influence of the x and y on the trigonometric functions. We will check the influence of the x and y on the quadratic function. We check the functions by the scaling are there. This x by 60 and y by 20. What is the meaning of that? We are using the scaling are there. So here again is a scaling, but it's a positive are there because we are increase the size. The influence of the x and y onto the different transformation. You can see the different transformation. Make sure that your input information is remain the same. You can't plot them like say this x and y, this the p is nothing but my sine of v. That is not the influence. So that's why wherever you want to show the influence of the single parameter onto the different function, then you have to use the subplot command.
Thank you, sir. I got it. That if we are checking for the single variable separately and we are checking about the influences, then we need subplots.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, there is no need of the subplot. If you want to use as this one as a figure 1, this one as a figure 2, this one figure 3, figure 4, then the audience may see these four figures in a separate manner. But if you write all these 4 figures in a single graph, then the candidate may observe that, okay, that's the influence of this. What is the meaning of that? You can see here is a graph of the sine x and the cos x. This is the graph of the x square and y square. So you can see the transformation of the sine x to be the x square, the influence of like here. Similarly, the influence of this on the same platform. Okay.
So it's quite interesting. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Now, how you can draw the bar graph. After this, I will move on the how you plot the 3D graphing. So let's say I can use them. Some few values are there. Say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and say I want to use the. I have used how many values are there? 7 values. So I can use them y as also the 7 values. Say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you want to use the, if you want to plot the bar graph, you have to use them a bar. There is a bar between X and Y. So if you want to write as a bar XY, if you click run button, you will see here why it appears on the 2,2,4, because you can see my previous slide, the same figure appears. So I can use here as a figure 1, and then I can use here as a figure 2, then it will appear as in a separate figure, like here. If I run this file, you can see the figure 2 appears in a separate one. So there is no need for the figure 1 right now. I can close it. Now you can see this is one here. But again, the question arises is, sir, why it's a blue color? If you want to change this blue color, say how you can change this blue color to be some other one. Then you have to, what you can do is, if you use them here, X, Y, say C, that's a color. What is the meaning of the C is? C means cyan color. So if I write R, then R for the red color. So you can see I can use them here as a subplot again to say 1, 2, 1, and here as subplot 1, 2, 2 bar of X, Y, of C. Now you can see the figure 2 will appear. Now this is the importance of the subplot. You can see the influence of this C at the same time. That's again the purpose of this subplot. So if you want to see some more graphs are there, like of say one is say red, second is say black. So I have to use this subplot more. So I have to use the second row, second column up here, and subplot 2, 2 here. So again, I have to change this value also, which is 2, 2. And okay, now you can see the influence of, sorry, this is my 3, this is my 4. Now you can see the influence. There is some error apart that. What is the error is? 2, 2, 3 is not be there. Why? You can see the SB plot. It means there is an error in the spelling. You can see here. There is a spelling error. So it is error on the line number 58. So this is my line number 58. The spelling is SUB. Now if you run this file, so that's the importance again, the importance of this subplot. Sorry, there is no need to save the file. So you can see the influence of the black color, red color, this and this are. Similarly, how you can draw the pie chart? Again, that's very simple. You can also draw the histogram also. This is a bar graph. All of you know that the difference between the histogram and the bar graph. You can simply write as a HIST. That is a histogram is there. If you run this file, there is an error on here. That is a 3 dimensions are there. So we will see one more syntax we need that we will see here. How you can draw the pie chart? I think that's very simple. You can simply replace them to be a pie. There is no problem. So you can see here is the pie chart. I simply replace the values as, instead of the bar, as this. Okay, so let's move forward to the 3 dimension. Now with 3 dimension, how? So let's say 3D graphs are. So again, once you will draw 3D graph, it will be look like here. That's the meaning of the 3D graph. This is the position of the X. This is the position of the Y. This is the position of the Z. And if you want to, it means what is the syntax is, you have to write as a plot 3. Then now since there are the 3 options, so you have to put them as a 3 inputs are there. The first input is for the X value, second input for the Y axis, third input is for the Z axis. So for example, if I say, if I write a simple one as say X is nothing but my say t square, y is nothing but my 4 of t, and minus of 3 to this. Okay, so now you can construct the 3D plot. So firstly, it means if it is a 3D plot, then you have to analyze the 3 dimensions. What are those 3 dimensions? So one is the x, that is the value of the t square. What is the value of the y? And what is the third dimension is my small t. So how you can do that? Again, very simple. X is dependent on the t, y is dependent on the t. It means your input parameter is my small t. So you can see again, now I can close this file. So I can write for you here as 3D plots. So firstly, you have to define the value of the small t. So what are my domain is -3 to +4. So I can write as initial value -3. How I define as initial value is -3, final value is my +4, and what is that? This is my increment size. Whatever the size you want to give that. So let's say I can give as a 0.1, or you can give as a 0.2, or simply as a 1 also. So let's say it's my 0.3, 1, 2, 4. Now you can, once you will input the value of the x, t, then you have to input the value of the x as well as the y. Now again, it's a t square. So for the each value of the t, you have to compute the value of x. So since for the each value, so you have to write this as dot square. So I can define the value of the x is nothing but my t square, and y is say my 4 of say t. That's it. Now what you can do, you can simply write as a plot 3 x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, x, y, and t. So if you see, if I run this file, look at that. Okay, this is a subplot command is there. So this is, I can change them to be figure number say 3. Now you can see this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis, this is the value of t from -3 to +4. Rest of the are same. If you want to put them as a grid lines, what you can do, you can write as a grid on. You can see here, these lines are appear. If you put them as a x-axis, you can write here values of the things are similar. Y label, values of y, and similarly for the z label, you can set as values of the t. Now you can see the value of the x, value of the y, value of the t. You can change the limits also. Since it is a 0, you can change them to the -1 if you want. This is a plus of 20, you can change them to the 25. So since for the x limit, what you can do is you can change them like of x limit, bracket, lower limit I want as a -1, upper limit I can set as a 25. Similarly, you can change them for the y limit if you want. Y limit, close bracket, lower limit is my -20. If you want to set as a -10, upper limit I want to set as a 50, you can set them like of here. Similarly, you can set them as a here, that is nothing but my title. You can change them with the command of this 3D plot like of this. You can change them to be the title of say 3D plots. You can see here as 3D plot. Similarly, if you want to put them say bar graph, how you can put them a 3D bar graph? Say I want to be bar graph, 3D bar graph between the values of the x and the t. You can see I have already defined the values of the x and t. I want to put the 3D graph between x and t. How you can do that? In the 2D, our command is bar. Now in the 3D, our command is bar 3. So you can see, I can write here as bar 3. I want to be the x, I want to be the small of t. So you can see I can run this command. This why it happens so. Let me again check it. Say I want to be x1 as say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y1 is set to be say 5, 15, 75, 24, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now I can write as a x1, y1. If you want to put as a color also, say red color, then figure say 4. Okay. So I can run this file. Now you can see this is a 3D graph. This is the graph of the 3D. You can see why it's a 3D are there. You can see here. This is the x-axis, one line. This is the one line corresponding to this. This is the line corresponding to this, and this is a line corresponding to this arc. So this is the way you can plot the 3D graph, and this is the 3D plot. This is called as the plots. This is called as the bar graph. So remember that the command is remain similar as that of the 2D. This is plot 3. This is a bar 3 command. Similarly, you can draw the histogram also. How you can draw the histogram? Let me show you again here. What you can do is I can write here as say histogram. Okay, so let's say histogram is always be defined for the year, say 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. I just randomly take the 5 values are there and say these are my sales. Sales are my say 14.5, 22.3, 12.3, and say 32.5. So one more value needed, say 22.5. Now, what you can do is you can use them as a bar 3. H is called as for the histogram. So once you put as a bar 3 is for the bar graph, H is for the histogram. Then you can write here as on the x-axis you want as a year, on the other axis you want as a sale. I written as a S is capital. If you want to put as a color as a crane, yellow, green, whatever you want. So say I want a blue color here. Now, if you want to run this file, let me show you. This is the bar. This is the histogram are there. You can see where is my bar graph. Okay, my bar graph is overlap because this is my figure 4. I'm not given as a figure number 5 here. That's why it is overlapping are here. So I can write here as if I can use as a subplot so that you can clearly see the difference between them. This is 1,2 are there, and this is my of the figure 4. So you can see the difference between them here. Now you can see the difference between them here is this is my bar graph, this is my histogram. Again, how you can draw the pie chart? How you can draw the pie chart in the 3D? Again, that's very simple. Initially, we see it's a pie. In the pie chart, you can simply write as a pie 3. So that's very simple. I think there is no need to explain them here. Now, the major question arises is how you can draw the mesh grids. I think you may understand the meaning of the mesh grid. Let me explain you. Let's say you want to draw the surface of there. All of you know that the graph of this. So let me firstly draw the graph and then explain you what is the meaning of here. How you can draw the graph like of this. Say y, say my -2, 1 to 2. I can write here as say x comma y, mesh grid of xy, and I can write here as x square plus of y square, surface C x y z. Okay, there is an error. Let me check what is the error inside it. This is the, okay, it's a small y. I have written wrong. This is my, okay, that's fine. Now, how you can draw such type of the graphs are this? I can put all this figure as of say figure 4. Yes. Now, how you can draw such type of the graphs are there? You can see this graph is called as, such kind of the graph is called as the mesh graphs or mesh grid graphs. So it is already available in the 3D. How you can do that? That's a very simple. So for example, if you want to say, I can define the one randomly question for you. Say, draw the graph of f of x comma y. Say 8 minus 2x square minus of 3y square. Over the domain is minus 2 to here, and say y is my minus 3.5 to 3.6, for example, let's say. Now, how you can do that? Whenever you want to do the graph of the function, then you always use the surface C. That's the commands are there that is used for the mesh grid. So that's a SURF, that's a surface C for the surface C graph are there. How you can draw that? So what is that? The command is surface C, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. This is my z. Remember that the length of this x, length of this y, length of this z must be same. So if it is not same, then you can see what is the error. So firstly, you have to define the x. So let me define like x like here, say 0.1 of say 2. Y I can define as minus 3.5. Any of the gaps, let's say 0.01. Oh, sorry, it's not be the less than. It's 3.6. Now, what is the meaning of this graph? If you look for this graph, what you observe that, say this point, I just pick up any arbitrary point. What are the values of the x? This is my x, this is my y, this is my z. What is the value of the x here? You can see the value of the x is my here. The value of the y, you can draw this perpendicular. This is the value of the y, and this is the value of the z. So it means similarly, you can find the value of the x, y, z here. You can find the value of the x, y, z here, 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 and here. It means how many points are there? If you draw the grid lines, of there, then you may observe that the point of this is the one point corresponding to the x, y, z. This is the point. How many points are there? They are infinite many points. So your first target is to find all those infinite points. How you can do that? We will use the command as of mesh grid, like of mesh grid. This is x comma y. You can save this value in any of the other name. Let's say capital X, capital Y. What is the meaning of that is, let me write in the MATLAB window and show you the value of the X and the value of the Y. So let me close this file. This is my close. Say here. So I can show you here, say minus 2.1 of 2, minus 3.5, 0.2, and say 3.6. Okay, now if I put as a comment box here, so firstly you have to write here and then see what is the length of the x. I can run this file. Now see, I can clear this. What is my small x? It is not be run here. Why? What is my small x? Yes. Now, if you write the value of the x, now you can see that x is start from my minus of 2 with the increment of the 0.1. You can see the values are up to this 241. Similarly, you can check the values of the y. Y start from the minus 3.5. Minus 3.5. The corresponding value of this is plus 3.5. Now, what is my capital X? Now you can see that these are my capital X. That is a array, complete array of this. The first one is my minus 2 complete, minus 1.9, and then so on. So now what is my, similarly, once you will write this value, now you can define your function here. What is my function is 8 minus of 2x square minus 3y square. So I can write this value as here 8 minus 2x square. So dot multiply x. Now you have to use this capital x square. This is my x square minus 3 multiply y square. That is my 8 square. That is, here is, what is the meaning of that is the function you want to plot. You have to define the function here. Now you can see what are the values of the z. If I run this file, so you can see, look at the size of the z. It's a 36 cross 41. So if you look over all those values, you can see I can write here. These are the values of the 8 minus 2x square and so on. Now you can plot all these values one by one. How you can do? You can use the Surface C. Okay, I can run this file. Now you can see this is a graph of this surface. And I think all of you know that. What is that? 8 minus 2x square minus of 3y square. It is nothing but my ellipsoid. If you are a mathematics student, you may remember that its ellipsoids are there, hyperbolas are there. Sorry, it's not a hyperbola, it's a hyperboloids are there. So you can see the graphically are there. So this is the way you can define these 3D graph in this manner. Sometimes the students may interested in the contour. I don't know whether you have used or read the word as a contour. Okay, so what is the meaning of that? Say you want to say x square minus y square, because it may take as a negative as well as positive also. So you have to say define from minus 2 to here, and say y is from minus 4 to plus 5. These are my range. You have to define the 3D plot. So one way is that you have to use as a Surface C command, as I discussed earlier. Otherwise, you can use as a contour. So what you can do is, what is the command is, once I will show you what is the meaning of the contour, you will see here x, y, and the z axis. So what is the meaning of that? Again, you have to firstly define the range of the x and y. You have to use the mesh grid like of here. Okay, I can again show you this with the help of the subplot. It means it will be quite easy. So let's say this is 1 comma here, and I can use this subplot for the others 1 comma 2 comma 2. This is for contour. Okay, so what I can do is I can write for here as contour 3. This is the value of the x. This is the value of the y. This is the value of the z. Instead of the surface, I can write here. So you can see once I will run this file, Now you can see the difference in the outputs are there. Now, have you seen the difference between them? You can see that this first graph is by using the surface C. This second graph is for the contour. So depending on your features, whatever you want in your dissertation, thesis, or any other form, then you can use the representation of the graphs respectively. So let me know if I think that's is enough for the graphing are there. 1D, 2D I covered surface. Any other, if I miss, you can tell me. I think from my side it's over. So if you have any other query, you can ask me. Till then, thank you very much.